All right, good morning. Dan here with Tradeology.com and the trading room for the final day in July. July 29th, 2021. We'll take a look around at the news today, take a look at some indexes, what's going on. Looks like we're on all-time high freight train one more time. So we see right now currently, Dow's up almost 0.5%. NDX is 0.35%. SPX is also 0.5% up, and the RUT is the leader right now, over 1% higher right now. So I moved these over just to look at the major indexes. Up here we have the Dow Jones. These are on 5-minute charts, so we see there was a big, huge move right at the open on the Dow, as well as the SPX and the NASDAQ. Big gap up in the RUT, and the RUT is climbing higher as well. Interesting anomaly we talked about last time. We kind of saw the same thing happen once again. We're here on the 27th, so this was shortly after we were live in the morning. It started, we had our bearish turning all day long, but yet at the close, prices went up. So that does not equate to normal. So that was another sign that we were going to get a drop in the market. We have high volatility coming in. And sure enough, yesterday we had a brief rally in the morning, but then it dropped right off. So we were up around 35,000. Then we saw it dropped around, lost 100 points during the day. So that was a clue the day prior where we had negative supply demand, negative strength, pretty decent sized strength numbers too, where it was down, opened up there almost -10. So that's a pretty big number on the strength index indicator from Market Timer. So those were clues that we were going to see a down day yesterday as we closed it out. Even though it did rally some, it was still down on the day. So another one of those things where you can look for anomalies, look for things that don't add up. You know, we have these down arrows, but we have price rising while there's full bearish hurting. That's not normal. So that's just another example of tracking these anomalies as we see them. This morning we see, if I take a look at the internals, we see we are positive right around 1300, give or take 1400 right now. It's holding pretty steady right there. We had a slight decline in that half-hour open, but it is holding pretty strong, and the volume is ticking up, and we are in agreement. So looks like this day will probably stay positive unless we take a turn for the worse. One thing that is interesting as I watch the dots over on the final to the right indicator here is there's no separation whatsoever, where we typically have them separated, where we see the gray and the green. So if I go back to the day, that was interesting, where it was negative and we saw price rising. That's where we had that anomaly where we should typically see it closer to the moving average lines here. Moving over to today, we see there is a potential for a downside turn because we are squeezed exactly right together. Like I have to go under the microscope here. They're literally painting right on top of each other. So if this moves to the negative, this is a sign that we could see some movement. So that is one thing we look for. That doesn't happen very often, so I'm going to keep an eye on that as we go here. And looking at, we're well extended on our SPY VIX. One thing I do want to take note is, let's maximize this guy so you can see it a little bit better. How many times we've been ticking over that 25 level that we keep an eye on. This is on a daily chart right now, and we have crossed over one more time. So every time we've crossed over this, we've had these short bouts of drops. One of these times, it's not going to be just a short one, is what everyone is concerned about. Can't predict when it's going to happen. Just always have protection on your portfolios, however that may be. And keep your eye on that. So as we close out this week, let's drop her to a weekly chart real quick, see how that's looking. Yeah, we got way extended up to 28 that we talked about a few weeks ago. Here we are at another all-time high, 441 on the SPY itself currently right now. So will it drop down to this trend line? It's a good target where it's been dropping there. So we will be continuing to watch that. It is up in the red area, flashing lights. Hey, pay attention. So one thing to keep your eye on there. VIX is continuing to make higher lows. Will we get another spike up? We're still watching that as well. So that's how the internals are faring all right now. As we take a quick look at the market timer spreadsheet, some oddities that we are seeing here too, where we have a very ill-formed bullish herding and a long tail setting up on the bearish herding side. So we saw yesterday's drop. Here's what was interesting is the supply demand index was actually positive. So there was buying that happened. There was more volume and more advancing issues that happened while it declined. So that is another anomaly. So that is setting up for a potential downside move. Or excuse me, that's actually positive, which is odd, which is why we have the rise today. They were buying more things. Now the index is up. So that's where we see the buying on decline over here. But we had a potential, the buy sell stopped at 1. We haven't made a big swing up. So it was all the way down at a -11. We saw it bottom out. Typically those double digits are where it stops. Then it moved to the upside, but now it's paused right around that 0 line. So that's an interesting item to keep your eye on too. So ill-formed bullish herding, we might not have a very long-lasting bull run here. So keep your eye on that as we look at these indexes. It is Thursday, so we will take a look at the unemployment claims as they came out. Forecast was 382. Well, the forecast was low. It did come in at 400, so that is definitely not good for new people reporting new unemployment claims on each week. And we see I have expanded this out once again every week, going back as far as this little mini chart goes. They have revised them all higher, revised from 412, revised from 411 up to 415, revised from 364. So each one, the revisions are actually higher than they initially come out with the actual numbers. So actual revisions are going up. The forecasts are continuing to be lower than expectations. So the actual claims are higher, with the exception of 1 week on July 1st, where they forecasted 388 and it came out 364. But then it was actually revised to 371. So I still see that as negative connotations. Another one that's interesting here is the advanced GDP. Quarter over quarter, they were expecting it to be 8.5% today. Well, it only came out at 6.5%. So that's making the headlines around as the US GDP is trailing the forecast, even though spending is surging. Well, they keep printing more money. They keep sending out checks. We even got a check recently for this new child credit tax, which normally we're not getting any of these stimulus payments, which is completely fine. That's another interesting one. So yeah, spending is going to keep surging as they keep sending out money to people. So yeah, frontline headlines for CNBC, Bloomberg, you name it. That's one thing to watch for. Interesting enough, at the same time, the dollar index doesn't like that at the moment, but we'll see. It's kind of on its consolidation here. It's at the bottom side to it. So we're always keeping an eye on that. As you guys know, we're watching that. Commodities index is tracking back up. It's in this long-term channel. It's riding right above that top channel there. So we're seeing yet another rise. I don't know about you guys in your neck of the woods, but I did see gas prices are over $3 a gallon locally here. So that's never a fun one. We like watching that. So there we are, all-time highs one more time. Let me bring over the index chart to look at the indicators. We see the Dow and the SPX both all-time highs. Will the NDX reach it today too? Are they going to close the week out green? We will find out. Looks like the NDX is actually ticking down. So I'd be surprised if this didn't drop. Might have a little mini double top on an intraday setup here. But we see scorecard is bulls are ahead for sure, 10-0. So look for more movement to the upside there. And we'll wrap this one up probably early. I got a meeting with some private clients coming up here. So you guys have a great week. And we will see you for a new trading room in August. So new links are coming out for the members. So grab those new links and we'll catch you in August.